Hello there, and welcome to 60 Seconds. I'm your host, Hunter Kelly. Today, we travel back in time to speak with some of the many scientists featured in Sam Kean's national bestseller, The Disappearing Spoon. Dmitri Mendeleev, Wilhelm Röntgen, Robert Falcon Scott, and Marie Curie would all like to share their vast knowledge of the periodic table with you today. Please welcome Dmitri Mendeleev. So, Mr. Mendeleev, what have your contributions in the field of science?
My most recognized contribution is I created the initial design for the current periodic table.
Interesting. How did you come up with the idea?
I put all the elements on playing cards along with their properties and masses, and I laid out the ones with similar properties in the same columns, almost like a game of elemental solitaire.
Interesting. How will this help chemists in the future?
My periodic table will help scientists everywhere, especially chemists, find elements and predict how they will act in reactions.
Did you do anything else to contribute to science?
I also correctly estimated the masses and properties of 4 elements: scandium, gallium, technetium, and germanium.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. I periodically get interviewed about this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dmitri Mendeleev. And now for our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Wilhelm Röntgen. So tell me, Mr. Röntgen, what are you known for? What was your biggest contribution to science?
Well, actually, I discovered the X-ray in November of 1895.
How did you feel when you first won the Nobel Prize for this discovery?
Well, actually, I didn't expect it. No one had ever won the Nobel Prize for chemistry before, so I had no idea it was coming.
Were there any major setbacks in your work?
Oh, yes. When I was in school, when I was a child, I was actually expelled because of a prank that another student did.
Were you angry with that student?
I remember when that happened, I was furious with whoever did the prank, but now I just think that I'm happy because if that hadn't happened, my life might have not turned out how it did. So.
How did you discover X-rays? Did anything inspire you to try to discover it? What exactly happened?
Nothing really inspired me to discover anything. I mean, I love that kind of thing. I love science and everything about it. But I actually discovered it by accident. I was just playing with some cardboard. I put some fluorescent materials on it. And I noticed that it was kind of glowing when I put it under some cathode rays. And that's how I discovered X-rays.
Interesting. Well, that was shocking. I just have one more question. Have you always been especially gifted? Have you always had good grades?
Actually, no. When I was small, I never had really that great of grades. I was just a normal kid, I guess.
Thank you for your time. Okay, next we will have Robert Falcon Scott, but that will be after the short intermission. And now, allow me to introduce Robert Falcon Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Scott, how did chemistry affect your journey?
Well, On our journey to the South Pole, we left behind some of our supplies so that on the way back we could pick them up and not run out of supplies. But the tin cans that we stored all our fuel in deteriorated due to the cold temperatures.
Had the tin canteens not deteriorated, do you think you could have completed your journey?
Yes, I believe so.
Why were you chosen for this expedition?
Well, a high-ranking officer in the Royal Navy saw my skill in guiding ships and my leadership.
Have you always been good at sailing?
Well, when I was a young man, I joined the Royal Navy, and I soon worked my way up in the ranks, and I impressed a few people. I don't know.
What have your accomplishments contributed to science?
Well, it was really the tragedy of my team that showed people that we needed to research what happens to elements in the extreme temperatures that we were going to.
Interesting thought. Were you very well known in your country of England?
Well, I was kind of a mini celebrity. I was very popular for my expeditions.
Well, it's been great having you. Thank you for your time.
I hope I didn't freeze up too much in my interview.
Ladies and gentlefolk, Robert Falcon Scott. And now, please welcome Mary Curie. So, Miss Curie, what is your biggest contribution to the field of science?
Well, I'm mainly recognized for my discoveries about element 92, uranium.
What did you discover about this element?
I discovered that the strength of the rays that came out depended only on the amount of uranium in the compound. It had nothing to do with whether the material was solid or powdered, dry or wet, pure or combined with other chemical elements. If you had a certain amount of uranium, you had a certain amount of uranium atoms, then you got a certain intensity of radiation. Nothing else made a difference.
Did you discover anything else?
I discovered element 84, polonium.
Why did you name it this?
I wanted people to know about my home country, Poland.
Interesting. Have you won any prizes for your discoveries?
Yes, I won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903 and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1911.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mary Curie. Thank you for your time and staying with us. I'll see you next time on 60 Seconds.
I won't be your stupid video anyways.
What? And now, allow me to introduce Robert.
In the frame. In the beer.